Oh, just based on this look alone, yeah, this is gonna be definitely the most controversial video I think I make. Definitely one of them because a lot of guys have differing opinions. But anyways, welcome back, boys. Today we have the 2023 MLW All-Star Predictions, and basically again, it's gonna be 7 guys per league like it has been the last few years. The captains will be also mentioned. They might not play, but the captains will most certainly be mentioned for both teams based on the World Series managers for last season. Anyways, so again, 7 guys per side based on the guys who most deserve it after 2 slates. These are stats after 2 slates per team. So let's get right into the chaos. We're going to start off with the NL. I'm being dead honest. If there's any single person that does not have this guy on their ballot for the All-Star game, I'm sorry, you got to get yourself checked. I'm sorry. But it's Jimmy North. Captain for the NL this season. He will be the captain for 2 straight years now. This guy is, once again, I think he's still the best player in MLW as we speak. Jimmy Norp is beyond unbelievable in every sense of the word. You can look at his stats right now on the mound. He's been dominating this season. The Diamondbacks have a 5-1 record due to his efforts both on the mound and at the plate. He has continued his dominant pace from previous seasons, and it's just self-explanatory and kind of expected at this point that we see this guy with such talent in the All-Star game every single season because, like, it doesn't matter what the Diamondbacks do, Jimmy Norp will always produce like the superstar that he is. So he actually is bringing one Diamondback along with him, and it's probably one that some people might not expect considering he's been more of a one-way guy this season. But honestly, I think he truly deserves the credit that we are about to give him. I don't give a crap if this guy is mainly a pitcher. You gotta give TREY his props for his effort this season. The dude has put up, in 3 games, he's pitched the same amount of games as Norb, and the D-backs are still 5-1. A .33 ERA against, these aren't teams that are, they've been slouching, but they were projected to be very good at the beginning of the season. You are talking about teams like the Predators as well as the Eagles. These two had very solid lineups last season, and we projected them being very good this season, but TREY has shut them down. TREY has been absolutely dialed in on the mound, and even though he's not getting that many reps at the plate, with the D-backs deep lineup, you don't really need TREY to be that guy. However, he has become the dominant second pitcher the D-backs were missing during the regular season last year, and he can be all the more reason why the D-backs can possibly three-peat for some reason this season. I'm being dead honest. I don't think a single person expected Brendan Jorgensen of all people to be playing like an all-star, hell, an MVP candidate this season. But Brendan Jorgensen has come back to MLW stronger than ever. This is, I think, the best Brendan Jorgensen we have seen in his 4 years in the league. His average is among one of the best in the league. He's batting fantastically right now with an OPS above 1300. Pitching wise, on the mound, he's been dialed in, locked in, and he is just giving the Gators a chance every time he steps up at the plate or every time he gets on the mound. Brendan Jorgensen has been dialed in and just incredible this season. If he doesn't make the All-Star game, I feel like it's a bit of a sham because I'm sorry, this dude has been just, he's been so, I'm personally impressed by how well he's been able to bounce back from a poor 2022 season, and much like his teammate that also made this list, he has surprised a lot of us, and he has kind of flown under the radar with how talented he has been in this 2022, I'm still living in last year, 2023 campaign. And here is Jorgensen's teammate, which likewise has bounced back from a piss-poor 2022 campaign. I think Chadwick going to the Gators has just reignited a spark in some of these guys because this season Chadwick has been batting very well. 300 with a home run. You know, he's been not the power hitter they need, but he's also been a very good contact guy. He's been getting on base quite a bit. 783 OPS does not look that great, but I feel like he's been better than his numbers imply. At the same time, I just think that Chadwick and Jorgensen, I feel like there's a new bond, a new fit. These guys have been just doing much better together. I think this new Gators team can be very dominant in the coming series. They just need Chris Cheatham to figure things out. As soon as Chris figures things out, I think it's a core 3 of Jorgensen, Chadwick, and Cheatham that can actually, if they turn back the clock, they keep up this pace, but they also go back to like their 2020 form. Oh my goodness, this team could be very lethal and a sleeper pick for the 2023 MLW playoffs. Now, this is no disrespect in the slightest to Dallas Allen because he's still the one showing up. He is still the brightest spot on a crappy Eagles team right now. The Eagles just have not been performing. Last year, they had 3 All-Stars. Daniel Schultz is not making the All-Star game this year. He should not. I'm sorry. He has not performed like it through 2 slates. He should not be making the All-Star team. Dallas Allen will be the Eagles' lone representative. Pitching-wise, this guy, his stats, again, this is another guy whose stats don't speak for how good he's been, he has been solid enough to give his team a chance every single game, but the problem is the guys behind him have not been doing that great. There's a reason why. MLW legend Daniel SCHULTZ wasn't contending for this All-Star game. There's a reason I did not consider him for this All-Star game. Because he has not been good whatsoever. His ERA is in the 31s, I think. It's bad right now. He just has not been that great, Daniel. And honestly, Dallas is the only solid rep that you can come up with from the Eagles. So by process of elimination, but also due to his stats still being on par with some of the elite in the league, Dallas Allen makes this All-Star game easily. Well, we have two Mallards now to finish things off, and obviously the GOAT of wiffle ball should be one of them, more than definitely. So again, Jordan Robles, what is there not to say about this guy that hasn't been said before? Won a top 5, if not top 3 player in the league. I still think KNORP is number 1. Average-wise, 333. OBP and slugging are among some of the best in the league. His OPS is up there as well. Pitching-wise, he's been very solid, honestly, throughout the season. Again, this is another guy whose numbers don't do him justice for constantly keeping his team in wiffle ball games and being one of the best players in the league. Overall, the Mallards would be lost without this guy. Let's just make that clear right now. The Mallards would be lost without Jordan Robles. Let's be 100% real here. So, again, for being such a great leader to his team, and I think being one of the more, the common sense candidates for the All-Star game, it should be self-explanatory that Jordan Robles is making the All-Star game. It would have been really hard for me to keep Tommy COUGHLIN off this list because it came down to, I believe, COUGHLIN and then Caden Irwin. And out of both guys, did Caden Irwin probably deserve the spot? He could have. This is a guy, a veteran in this league, who will constantly come up clutch at the plate when you need him to. Yes, he may have struggled recently, but I am certain that Tommy COUGHLIN will be back in slate 3, 4, 5, the playoffs. I am confident in Tommy COUGHLIN to bounce back. And even though, like, his stats through a few slates are not that bad at all. An 857 OPS as well as the 238 average. The average could be better, but he's hitting home runs. He's doing his job in that lineup. He's become a power hitter. He needs guys to get on base more for him. He is still an all-star in my opinion. He is once again one of the elite players in MLW this season. Once again, I'm sticking with it. Very quickly shifting gears here and moving over to the AL. We got Drew Davis, who was going to be the manager for this All-Star team in 2023, considering he was the Cobras World Series manager last season. Now, Drew Davis has, again, I feel like he has flown under the radar this season. He's a guy that we thought, you know, again, the Cobras would be lost without Drew Davis. I think everybody knows this. Thankfully, Drew Davis, his time in MLW is not coming to an end just yet. He is sticking around. Unfortunately, his plans out of state fell through. However, this means he can continue to dominate in MLW. One of the league's best OPS. He is still doing fantastic right now. He's one of the 2 signs of life right now in the Cobras offense. Without Drew Davis, I feel like this team is lost. And the Cobras need this guy, and I feel like any All-Star team this season needs this guy. Drew Davis has had a fantastic season so far, and it would be a crime to not mention him for an All-Star game. If you go ahead and look at Sean Flynn's average and tell me he doesn't deserve to be in the All-Star game, I'm sorry, you're a casual and you know nothing about baseball, wiffle ball, or any statistic metrics whatsoever. This guy has been so valuable to the Cobras this season. It is unbelievable. Sean Flynn is a sleeper pick for this All-Star game. 100% he should be going. 2 for 13. Yeah, in 13 at-bats, 2 hits. Yeah, but at the same time, he's come up to the plate. He's walked 11 times. His OPS is 1100 plus. This guy has been doing his job, and that is be that extra runner that Drew Davis can drive in with the long ball. He has done his job spectacularly, and there is no reason as to why Sean should not be returning to the All-Star game in 2023. This guy should have made it last year, and he didn't make it. If he gets snubbed again, if Sean Flynn gets snubbed from another All-Star game for once again being the league's most consistent player and doing his job every single season, there's going to be an issue. He is the most underrated player in this league by far. We have a pair of rookies on our hands that have single-handedly 180'd MLWs historically, overachieving an awful franchise. Let's make that clear right now. Even as a Magic fan, yeah, I'm sorry, we've stunk. Anyways, Grant Miller. I don't know. Is a 470 average not enough to make the All-Star game? Is an OPS nearly 1,500 not enough to make the All-Star game? I don't know. You tell me. Tell me. If you can argue with these stats and tell me that Grant Miller doesn't make an All-Star game, you have an issue, okay? But overall, Grant Miller has breathed new life into this Magic organization. Both him at the plate, him and that other guy have been very solid so far, incredibly solid, have done their job and then some, and they are the reason why the Magic are still actually trying to contend in MLW. If you remember what Dallas Allen had done last year in that first half and how he completely took over the Eagles' ace role, then this RJ Walgate looks very familiar to you. RJ, a rookie in this league, has shot onto the scene and become the ace for the Metro Magic. Not a single earned run in 13 innings pitched this season, 4 games. The dude, he has not gotten a single at bat, but for his pitching alone, he has dragged, I wouldn't say dragged the Magic, but he has certainly given them a chance every single game. He is one of those game-breaking, game-making, team-fixing play. Like RJ is so much more than I think any person expected him to be. I never expected RJ to be this good, let's be dead honest here. The Magic definitely found themselves a very good young stud that, along with Bonham, will direct their pitching on the mound for the years to come. RJ Walgate, if he does not make the All-Star game, this is once again a sham. Like, there are very obvious picks for this All-Star game. I swear, if they don't make it, then there's something wrong with the league. There's something wrong with the league. Very much like the Eagles, the Preds need a representative. And there's one guy who's shown up for every single game and done his job every single series. And that is, once again, KRACHT, the reigning MVP. Yes, the average doesn't look that great. The OPS doesn't look that great. But let's be dead honest. The Preds need a representative. And he is the most qualified and worthy representative so far. His pitching is the only reason why these guys have even had a chance in games. And the Preds still can't get things done. KRACHT is the only reason why the Preds have breathing life right now, because I'm sorry, Warda, Russell, Ramirez, and McGlade have not been up to par at all, and Jake Longman is missing. We don't know where Jake Longman is. Right now, he's doing whatever he can. He is pretty much strapping the team on his back and trying to drag them to get some wins, but they're at 1-5 at this point of the season. Who knows where exactly this team is going to go from here. Let's see what happens to these Preds, but right now KRACHT is really the only deserving guy on that Preds team to get an all-star nod. This should be kind of obvious. Another dude that, like, as long as you watch this league, you know that very well he should be in the All-Star game. Jackson Pearson should be due for his second All-Star appearance in 3 years now, in his 3 years in the league. Because mainly, Pearson at the plate, he has still been that reliable third bat. He still has an incredible OPS. Again, the average isn't that great, but the OPS really shows how valuable he is to the Cats lineup. What has surprised a lot of us this year is how he has taken over that second pitcher role from Nick Saylor, who has started to become more used to fast-pitch wiffle ball. This now leaves Pearson as a reliable number 2 option who has been allowed to grow and really improve his game. He has been a very solid asset for these Wildcats. He has done very well in his starts so far. And honestly, Pearson is another fantastic diamond in the rough find that Kyle Schultz has made. And now, again, the Wildcats are 5-1. They're really contending at this point. And again, Pearson is really contributing to that due to his incredible efforts so far this season. And as it is deserved, the last one goes once again to Kyle Schultz, who last year, I said last year, yes, he's going to captain the Wildcats, but he did not deserve to make the All-Star roster. He still did because he's the GOAT of MLW. This season, though, he deserves it and then some. That hitting, he is batting almost 500 on the season. With one more hit, he's up to 500. The OPS, 1,300. Bro is playing elite right now. He has still done very well on both sides of the ball, and Kyle Schultz is making last year's Wildcats season look like a fluke. He has proved all of us wrong. A lot of people have been saying the Cats are falling off, the Cats are getting old, Cats are going to tank. No, the Cats are 5-1 now because of the efforts of Kyle Schultz dragging this team on his back and returning to his 2018 MVP form. This is the best Kyle Schultz has played in literally half a decade. He hasn't been this good in so long. Typically, you know what, Kyle Schultz sometimes just makes the All-Star game because he's the GOAT, he's the commissioner, like that kind of stuff. But Kyle Schultz this time literally deserves him more than anybody else. With the way he's been playing, he deserves it more than anybody else. Well, folks, there you have it. There are your complete All-Star rosters, your All-Star lineups for the 2023 MLW season. This is at least what they should be based on player performance so far and the requirements and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's basically everything that you got there. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know, do your All-Star lineups, your projected All-Star lineups match this? Is there anybody who I possibly may have snubbed? I feel like maybe Brendan Baranowski and Caden Irwin both could have been considered. I don't want to hear anything about Alec Warda, Chris Cheatham, or Nick Saylor. I don't want to hear them. They have not been consistent. Like, Nick Saylor had a very bad first series, and honestly, Cheatham has not been that great, and Warda had a very bad second series. So guys, this goes to the most deserving, the guys who showed up for their team in both slates, the guys who have done the best so far. I don't want to hear anything else about it. On that note, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to see you guys all next time. Peace out, y'all.